Welcome to the first video version for a devlog. Don't make very many videos, so bear with me, but I'm just going to kind of show off a little bit of how I use Excel to work with making my life easier when programming and trying to get data done. This week we will probably not have an update to the game due to me working on this most of the week after work, so I don't get super a lot of time after work, so I try to do what I can. And this week it was mostly working on this Excel sheet. So this is for enemies. I built a stat system for the allies in the party, and you can use that to kind of make a enemy version that I did here. So I use the same systems that I did in the game. So let's say we're going to make a level 10 enemy. And just for simplicity's sake, I have the setup here with all the stats. It's calculated by these here. It uses the same sort of system they do in the actual program with a B, C, D, E system. And I can, craft enemies based off of those letters. But instead of using the program's version of that for the most part, I did with hit points and stuff somewhat, but I have it over here calculating with like 600 to 700 randomized. Every time I change the sheet, it'll do this. So let's say HP is A. It is now going to give me 686 randomly between these two values, and I can do that with B, C, D, E to make enemy values based on how I want them to be built. And if you play the game, there's an orb system. Currently, it's not super robust in the areas that are built, but from the contest there was more, but I scaled back while redesigning many of the things in the game. So at the very end of the demo, or the part that's out now, there is a fire orb, which is here. But these are all the different orbs that are in the game that you can earn. So the same system is built for the enemies, where they can have stat bonuses and boosters based on what they have equipped, quote. So let's say they have a rank 1 fire orb, and the orb points here will show me how many I have left to equip. If it's a normal enemy, it's 10. In this case, for a boss, it would be 20. We'll pretend it's a normal enemy right now, and we'll say we're in Act 1, because that will matter how much bonuses I get for the orbs as well. So I can actually be at 12 points with a level 10 monster. And this is because normally in the game you have the level being how much your orbs you can equip, but there is an item you can earn as well which will add to that value, and there's 100 of them you can earn, so that'll bring you to 200 points. So I calculated the game out that if you were in Act 5 with a level 100 enemy, 200 would be the max, but for bosses they get to have quite a bit extra, so they will get to do much more. But let's make it level 2 here for that. And just for the quickness of doing this, let's do a 2 here, and then let's do some crit, and some HP bonus as well. And we'll give him an attack bonus too. Since he's got a B in his attack, that's not too bad. Alright, so as you see, I have now made 12 points worth of orbs. All the calculations are happening over here with all the final values, calculating out all the bonuses, because in the background, what I can do actually as well is, let's say he's got a sword, and it's going to recalculate that. Armor is going to be heavy. And then this early in the game we'll give one toy, which is an accessory basically, and we'll put a vitamin, which gives a bonus to all stats. Alright, so I have a sheet here which does all the calculations for everything. Basically takes everything I enter, ranks everything up, checks it, and it does all the calculations. So over here because we have fire ranks, it does calculations based on what I've set it to do, and ice becomes a little bit weaker, but you're better against fire, so this monster is weak versus ice a little bit, but he's strong against fire. And as you see, as we go down, so let's say HP, we will also see way over here, percentages calculated down below here, and then it adds everything else up on this top here, and then that's where it all goes on this sheet down below. It'll go in, calculate everything out, and it'll give me all the values now for my HP, MP, attack, defense, yada yada yada. I have experience, feed, and skill level calculations as well. This here is my little chart for, oh, this enemy needs these kind of bonuses. So if we were to now move this, here is an enemy that I kind of quickly set up. And now, instead of sitting there and trying to figure out all these values or just play around with values and go test it and values, in which of course things may or may not work fully as I test, and I will tweak the values and the parameters inside these Excel program, but for the most part this helps me very quickly get at least the baseline version. So 750, 124, 115, and we will add all of these into the program, and we will actually run that up. And there. So he's got a couple skills, let's say, and what we do here now is these are now the bonus traits that this enemy has. So what I'm going to do is just quickly go through and add in, let's see, element, fire, and he is 60, and then I'll quickly copy and paste for ease of use, and we've got 120. And I'll do this basically for all the things. I actually have these already here because a lot of enemies are gonna be different with their stats. So, because of the gear and also the orbs, almost every enemy is gonna have a bit of a bonus. And because of the program I'm using for level ups, the baseline is what is used for the enemies at a level 1. So whenever you actually calculate the level 10 out, it's actually giving you the level 1 value, including bonuses with axe and all that. And that's giving me the level 1 version of these with all the bonus stuff. And then in the game, these values here are going to go and calculate out even higher. So his health actually at level 10 will then be much, much higher than the 750, but of course it's a level 10 enemy, so we're going to be seeing him be, quite a bit more. Same with attack, it's going to be 125 in the system plus 23.5% bonus. So you're going to see, these values, and of course, as I'm going through and testing this over the weeks, I just finished this, so it's going to get tweaked as I go, but this helps me save a lot of time and effort when designing, because when messing around before doing this kind of stuff, it's like you get a lot of work to do setting up these enemies and stuff. And when I've got so many systems in the game, I want it to be balanced around it being challenging. So needing to have calculations that I can just kind of baseline it and tweak as I go is going to help me quite a bit more than what I've done in the past. And Excel has helped me. You can't see it in the screen most likely, but there is quite a few tabs I have on this Excel sheet, and I can switch between them. All my armor calculations that helped me figure it out, reputation calculations where I was trying to go through. So there's quite a bit of calculations happening that I use a sheet for with many different pages to help me just quickly get this going as fast as possible, because I'd like to keep updating almost weekly if possible, so it's not taking too long to get new content for people to try. And the skill level here is kind of something that I do down below. For skill, let's say 1. This one's already filled in actually. and it wouldn't be 1, but for the sake of this, we'll call it that. And then there's item drops that I go through and tweak and give out different items as I go. This is just all the calculations, and in this case I'd make him a level 10. That's the minimum and maximum level values. There's no variance on him, which there will be, usually a variance of 1 with enemies other than the very first enemies in the game, because I wanted to make them very specific for tutorials and, you know, not killing the party. So in this case, this is my enemy. If I wasn't talking about it and showing it off, it'd probably take me a couple minutes at best. And then I have an enemy built, and then I start doing them into the troops and setting them up and all my data sets, and that's pretty much what I've got here. I'll probably do more of these type of video devlogs, because I was going to do this written with snippets and stuff and pictures, and I was like, well, that'll take way longer than doing a 10-15 minute video. So instead, I decided to do it this way. If this works out and this goes well, I will probably set up a few more with how I design other things. And if there's other things people would like to see, put it in the comments, and maybe I can get around to showing off other videos with other types of creation for this, because I mean, I've got tons and tons of data sets here of content that I've built into it. Tons of weapons, armors. I can go into how I kind of design the ideas for that. But that will be for another video, so hope you enjoyed this, and keep an eye out on usually Sundays for updates, except probably not this Sunday, but you never know. We'll see. Alright, thank you. Bye.